Right.
anyone who wants to be healthy, who wants to maintain their health, and anyone who needs that love and that healing in the form of a dessert.
Absolutely. And I mean, the added benefit of what you're doing and your ingredients, the
It's
added
been great.
benefit helps those who are dealing with health conditions. I mean, it actually
It has
helps
been
them.
great.
Yeah.
It's been really, really nice. My first cake, the cake that put me on the map was the sweet potato pound cake because I needed a lot of sweet potatoes in my diet. I needed healthy red blood cells, and that's what sweet potatoes can do for the body. It's loaded with beta-carotene, which is a precursor to vitamin A, and that helps to rebuild, healthy red blood cells. And, the more I ate this delicious sweet potato pound cake, the healthier I felt, the stronger I felt. And so I wanted to share it with everyone. We lived in Moore Park, California at the time that I became ill. So I ended up opening up 2 locations, 2 Just Sweet Enough shops in Simi Valley, California. And so people would order from justsweetenough.com, or they would come into the locations and pick up, cakes, cookies, or little mini pies, whatever they needed. Sometimes people would just come in just to talk. The cancer center in Simi Valley was right down the street from my shop, so a lot of people would come straight from chemo to the shop to sit down and have a nice hot cup of tea and some cake. And for those that were ill that came in, they ate for free.
And what a great way to put a smile on someone's face, with everything that's going on with these cancer treatments and things like that. And, even I'm thinking about, my father, of course, who was going through a bunch of chemotherapy and radiation before he passed away a few years ago. And, it's important to get those moments of, happiness. I mean, it could be something so small as, a cookie, like you're saying, or, a piece of cake, something that brightens up someone's day who's dealing with a bunch of health issues, something that makes them, look forward to the next day, or look forward to coming into your restaurant in Simi Valley. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The good thing I want to add, the good thing about eating the desserts was that because all the nutrients were in the dessert, it also helped them, people who were going through chemo, to feel better going through chemo. Because, you're going to feel sick and nauseous. So here's one way for you to eat something to keep that medication. You know how they say a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down? So it's like a spoonful of Glynis, just sweet enough, will keep the medication down. So that was a lot of the people who would come into the shop, they would say, well, I still have to take this extra medicine, and it's hard to keep it down, but you were able to come up with something nice and something that was so full of love that made my stomach feel so much better when I ate it. And it was a healing thing for me, too. Because remember, I'm, this is a fight that I will be going through for the rest of my life. So it's healing for me to know that I'm blessing so many people. And my blessing comes back in the form of, God allows me each morning to wake up to do His will. And that's to create, and, care for people and that sort of thing. I went through sort of a war with myself when I started all of the Glynis's products, the waffle mix and, the poultry coating mix, and then we have the beignet mix and the sour cream biscuit mix and the French toast mix and all that.
So many things.
Again, about 8 different products. Again, I created these things when I was in college because this is how, you ate. You were on a budget. I was going through a little war because I was thinking, wow, I'm known in the medical field and in the culinary field as one of the health gurus. And now here I am coming out with a comfort food line. And I thought for a minute, what will people think? But my daughter, she and I had a talk, and she goes, Mom, all the food companies, they have their comfort food line, and then they're just now coming up with the health food stuff.
Right.
You were one of the trendsetters back in the 90s that were pushing the low sugar, low fat stuff. So why can't you have both of them? This is what they eat when they come to our home, and everyone wants to do it at their home. So why not, manufacture the waffle mix and the coating mix and all of your other things so people can enjoy it too? Because not everybody gets to fly all the way to Denver, Colorado, where we live now, to eat at the Albright household. So
That's
now
right.
you get to have it at home.
In the
So
comfort
it's been
of your own
quite
home.
a journey. It's been, quite a journey for me to be blessed to have both lines, to help people who are going through their storm, and to help folks who says, you know what, I can't eat like this every day, but every now and then I want a good waffle. I want a stack of pancakes. I want some crepes with strawberries in between.
Yes.
So I've provided that for them, yes. But one added thing, even though all the things that you purchase on allrightcuisine.com is a comfort food, there's certain things that I still will not do. And I will not add preservatives and additives and artificial sweetness into any of my products. So
and part of that, Glynis, is probably because your background as a nutritional therapist, you know the dangers, you know the things that go into food that shouldn't be into food, and things that we try to naturally purge our bodies from. You don't want to add anything that is going to be harmful. I mean, a lot of things that are in many of the products that we use today, especially here in America, we all know that aren't good for us.
Right.
And I love the fact that you are actually you've taken the initiative years ago to actually do something about that and create something that's healthy and wholesome and delicious for people to eat, knowing that they're getting something of quality and not just a bunch of ingredients thrown together just to preserve a product. And that's very important to say.
It has been wonderful. It really, really has. I mean, it's my passion. Ever since I was a little girl, I always enjoyed cooking or watching my grandmother and my mom cook. I never asked questions. I would just watch them. And back in the 60s, there was a show that came on called The Galloping Gourmet.
Okay.
And it was a guy who would come on and he would, cook. I believe he was French. And then there was Julia Childs. She had her cook show. And I would always tune in whenever I could do it. I would, besides doing homework and all that kind of stuff. I was sitting in front of the TV watching them cook all these different foods, and it was just so interesting to me. So by the time I turned 10, that's when we moved from New Orleans to Los Angeles, I decided that I wanted to have my own little dessert company. And, it was my father, God bless his soul, before he passed away, he reminded me, he says, Glynis, you've always been destined to do this. Maybe you just didn't know that you were going to do it from a medical standpoint, but I always knew that you were going to do something like this where you would make, people happy. I did start a little baking business. We lived near Western Avenue in Los Angeles, and there were a few mothers that lived in our little cul-de-sac that were single moms. Okay. So they didn't have time to make their kids birthday cakes and, bake sales for school and all that. So I would go door to door and volunteer to do those things for them. Yeah, so they wouldn't have to do them. And there was a mix that came out in the late 60s called Jiffy. And there was a Jiffy cornbread mix. There was a Jiffy white cake mix, yellow cake mix, and chocolate cake mix. And then they came in little small boxes. And then there was a vanilla icing and chocolate icing. So that's what I used. I would save my allowance and buy those items, the frosting and the 3 different cake mixes. And I would make all these little cupcakes. And then I made, cookies and decorated them and everything and put them in cute little plastic bags with a bow around it. And I would go door to door with my big basket and sell the items. Yeah. So,
that's so sweet. I mean, this has been something that's been ongoing for you since a child. I mean, your love for cooking is not something that happened, last year or 10 years ago. No, you have been doing this for a long time.
It's been in my blood for a long time. And just the feeling that I had as a 10-year-old for a woman who says, it's just me, my husband has passed away, it's just me and my 2 kids. Thank you for bringing them some desserts. And, of course, my prices were reasonable. Mm-hmm. And for them to trust me to bake their child's birthday cake at 10, I mean, that was quite an undertaking because they would have, a huge party. It wasn't just them. It was their family and their friends. And they would invite me, and I would sit there very, very quietly, and people would go, "Where'd you get the cake? Where'd you get the cake?" And then I would, raise my hand, and here's this little short 10-year-old that, baked the cake. And, of course, I received other orders from that. So It's been in my blood for quite some time, and it's a passion. It makes me feel so good, especially when I'm creating something for a child who has never had a birthday cake because they're ill.
Yes.
To sit there with the parents and assess that child to make sure that I am putting the right ingredients in his or her cake so that he can enjoy it for the first time.
We aren't done. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of the interview. In part 2, you'll hear some interesting announcements for what's to come.
Easy to make cuisine on your plate. I need my fix of Glynis. Waffle and pancake mix. Oh yeah. Fluffy and light, you love every bite. I need my fix of Glynis.